everyone. Welcome. Hello Yvonne, welcome. You're the first I see in the chat, and Rita also. Hello Rita, welcome. And curious because I'm now also live on Odyssey. But I'm going to check that now if that's accurate. And Odyssey is a long time ago that I tried it out. So welcome everyone on this Saturday evening live. I very much look forward to what I'm talking about for, well, in the Netherlands the evening. Also a bit nervous like always. Hello Artis Liberalis, good evening, welcome on this live stream. And everyone, the last tunes of the music, and then I will continue. So, if I am, I hope I am live there on Odyssey. I am checking now if I am indeed live. Welcome everyone. I'm first checking there to my channels. Artis Liberalis says, I love your intro music. Yeah, me too. That song is so... The first time I heard it, it stuck to me, and it's me, like seize the day. While I will tell you all about my inner process, of course, but it's even more accurate for me in my life to be, to see the things from the light side and from humorous side, which, well, you know that a lot of times bloopers happen in the live stream, but I mean in daily life, as Ray here also in the daily life. So, but I first will check Odyssey. Good evening again to everyone, also on info, video delen and video news. Welcome everyone. I would suggest come to Twitch or to my YouTube channel, because there is more chatting and interactive chat. So, and I see it and also in on screen, and I will check now and then the other channels, but then I have to scroll through the tabs and so on, and that's pretty, well, it's not so practical for me. So if you would, you're welcome to join me there. Let me see if I have this. I will close some music. This one. Hey Jane! Hey, welcome! How are you doing? And how are you all doing who are watching? Also on Rumble I am live. I will also check there if I'm live. Because when I go live, as you know, well, many of you know that I am live streaming on multiple channels. But I like it, you know, it's pretty, it is a lot of management, but I do like it. So, but then I have to, at the start, just check where I am live, like on Rumble. I myself cannot even check it. I have to then click on the tabs. And before I go checking, I promised to wear my dress. You see the dress? So I'm wearing it. Hello Alice, welcome. You too. Very, 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 very good evening. And because in the Netherlands it's early evening, and for everyone else, of course, good day, good morning, good evening, whatever is fitting for your time zone. Welcome. And I'm now checking if I'm live on Rumble. I hope so. Oh, I don't see any live there. Well, then I have to let go. Not live there. That's a pity. Let me see if I'm live. No. Live streaming. Ah, I am live on Rumble. Yeah, welcome everyone on Rumble. Multiple. Yes, and now Odyssey. So I will start with updates on my process, on my healing process. And I had a lot of insights again. Every day I grow with consciousness about what it is to be a former MK Ultra and coming from such abuse and enslavement. And I bump into a lot of things. But yeah, now I'm doing two things at the same time. I will check again if I'm live on Odyssey. I don't think so. Let me see. Maybe someone can check if I'm live. I don't see myself being live on Odyssey, and I did put it in. So I apologize. I need to the channels. Let me see. No, not live. Okay, then I let go. That's okay. And welcome also the people on Trovo. That's okay. And welcome also the people on Trovo. Okay, well then I will let go and go to the chat on Twitch. And I let go this all streaming management. And I let... Alright, so for tonight, this Saturday it's English spoken. Next Saturday is Dutch spoken. I will try to go spontaneously live, in a few weeks maybe, but coming week, well, I have no time for that unfortunately, but I will try in coming weeks also to go live at daytime. I look very much forward to that. Rita, I love the background, Ray. Oh, thank you so much. Well, I have lately a lot of positive feedback on my background. Thank you so much for the compliment. I enjoy it very much, and it's I love lights, but for the many who know me from the beginning, they know I love little lights and colors. And today I also have with me Hello Kitty. I hope I will not harm any, how you say that, copyright, or that it's no advertisement, but it is for me a special symbolism with Hello Kitty, special someone in my life. And I did talk about it already sometime. Hello Delvertje, good evening. And again, so it's English for today, and next time I do it in Dutch, and I will apparently also do the subject which I had for tonight. Then I will do it in Dutch. So everyone who prefers the Dutch language, you won't miss anything about the subject. So, all right. To begin with my deprogramming and my wholeness journey, that I bump into patterns in myself, like with feeling and non-feeling. And as you know, for me, is that I talk about that I wish always that there will be feeling back into the world. And in my opinion, that also the Creator, God, whoever you want to call it, or the unconditional love, that is ruling in the world with goodness and transparency, leadership. But for me, it is, I bumped into specifically this week into so craving for fully feel all the time. And with feeling, well, I love, of course, to hear your feedback on what you see as what is for you most important to feel in life. What is for you most important for you in person. I'm really curious, because for the people who are new here, this is also interactive chat. I will check also the chat regularly, and despite the heavy subject, I will also touch upon which is in the title. I love also humor and lightness and lightheartedness. So, hello Sunbeam Sting, welcome. And yeah, I think I greeted everyone on all my channels. It's 6 at the same time, if I count well enough. So welcome. Uh, yeah, so that feeling and non-feeling. Because I know that I freed my core, as many of you know, my inner soul, my inner source of being, and that I'm now trying to find out what it is to continuously try to feel. And this is an incredible longing in me. But I bumped last week into actually very much and often non-feeling, and that was quite confrontation for myself, especially because I know somehow within that I'm then not in non-feeling, and then it happens. And then I started a bit to freak out, like, how long will my healing process last before I finally feel in a continuous way? And yeah, I was really a bit freaked out. And then I got many insights about that there are still personalities coming forward, coming to the surface. And also a small summary with what I mean with personalities is these personalities, I was split up, my mind was split up when I was extremely small. Actually, I believe it was already done as a baby, that I was already being influenced in a negative way and programmed and educated, as Joseph Mengele called it always, that I was always so traumatized. But I have vivid memories from when I was a very little toddler, and that my personality was split up in first in two, then in four, and then in these four personality splits or core splits. Then the programmers built up more and more personalities. I myself also created personalities, by the way. That can be very, very confusing. But I also, when I could not bear any trauma any longer, or in the front life, when I simply had to divide my personality in multiple personalities to survive. So, for example, in the front life, I had a personality who always laughed and could also laugh at myself, like when I made mistakes, or what happens sometimes here in the live stream that occur some bloopers and so on. Well, the people who watch me frequently know that it happens often a while, but in the split upness, that was actually also a trick, not in the here and now, because that is integrated, and I truly love them from within, and I can truly feel happiness as well, because and this is why it was for me so hard to deal with the non-feeling again, which I know is coming from these former personalities who were active in my personality system, like that they were continuously ruling, and they wanted to create a kind of safe haven for at least the world, which was a big, giant, scary world, specifically in the front life. Delveltje says only sometimes. yeah, only sometimes. Yeah, I love Delveltje. I know. Oh wait, now But yeah, to come back, and because it has got to do also with what I want to talk for tonight. Like last couple of weeks, because I'm so integrating and being confronted with my feeling and non-feeling, that I also challenge myself more to be straight in live streams, more in details, and more daring to share my opinion. I also notice it when I'm at times, well, you know that at times I do sometimes join in a meeting or with others, and then in a talk, and then I feel still that I want to withdraw myself, and then and then I hear a subject which I love, and then it is already 30 minutes later. Then I wanna join, and then that subject is already, of course, has already passed, and then I also, the chance that I could talk about the subject also has passed. But these are challenges for me which I still bump into. And next to that is what I said earlier about, yeah, feeling and non-feeling, and yeah, that these former personalities coming from princess personality and princess programming, and by now I have, yeah, approximately 6, 7 new personalities now integrating in me. I mean, Sunbeam Sting. Oh, thank you so much, Sunbeams. It makes it homey. Yeah, I can relate to that. I also watch a lot of live streams also, and then you hear a bit the sounds at the background. Yeah, it's very homey. Yeah? I can relate to that. Yeah. Yeah, this is a very good, it's a great quality microphone, by the way. Oh, thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, I am always very extreme in the animations, as you see, because I love you new follower. Yeah, welcome. Not your whole name I saw, but yeah, uh, I don't get that lately in the as well, not in the chat. So, but welcome and join us in the chat. So, to come back to feeling and non-feeling. So these personalities of the former personalities, and that is a big difference with in the past with my deprogramming. And I started deprogramming, as many of you know. For some of you, it's a bit repetitive, maybe, but I do like sometimes to make a very small summary also for myself, because then it creates a very short summary and a timeline in how long I am consciously deprogramming. And that is actually from MK Ultra that I realized I was MK Ultra. That was only since 2010, the year 2010. So I am only 14 years really deprogramming from MK Ultra, that I know it as ego, as the person who is leading life and who knows everything, what I do, and remembers everything. Evening Ray, hey, evening Nobby, welcome on YouTube. Some people think there's also woo follow, yeah. Yeah, you're everyone. You're very welcome, and for everyone who's watching on Rumble and might watch on other Facebook pages, join us on Twitch. You don't need an email. You just can make your account. No, you only need your email address, and you don't need to give up your telephone number, which is the case on YouTube. But yeah, and also thank you, by the way, on YouTube for the new followers this week. I'm very grateful that my channel is growing, because it was last week a bit, yeah, that I felt in the live stream it dropped five followers. But yeah, that is very natural, but I never experienced that many in one live stream. But thank you so much. So these performer personalities are now, yeah, in my crown chakra, and maybe some of you, I don't know that, but I am very, yeah, spiritual as well, which is helped me also keep alive. And it is like the crown chakra is literally where a physical crown is on top of the head, and that's the crown chakra, and there these former personalities are now integrating. Well, another thing about the non-feeling is that I was, yeah, I maybe like, it felt so extreme that I felt the changes of these integrating personalities, like an incredible tiredness. I was last week so tired, and then also in the head, and I also feel it now, so that I know that these belated or these latest personalities, that they try to interrupt me in, yeah, in what I'm trying to talk about, because I am also for tonight, for the first time, going into more details of what I came across in the experiments of Joseph Mengele and the laboratories in the underground facilities and other laboratories and on the Montauk, but also, which I did not want to add to the title, but I have from a close witnessed also how they experimented with genders and with hair color, with eye color, with pupil color, with the iris color. I mean, so and also I will talk about that as well. So and I'm a bit nervous about it, but yeah, I let myself also guide through through the spirits and the creativity. And if I focus on that trust, then I'm sure it will all go well. But to come back to that behavioral thing what I bump into next to extremely tired, was also that time goes so quickly since I am since last week, when I'm more aware of feeling and non-feeling, and that I jump between feeling and non-feeling. And again, for everyone who has their or his her own thoughts on that, just let me know in the chat. I really am curious how you experience your being in the feeling, because there are so many things of how you can feel. And since I already started to remember that I was abused from 2000 by my front family, that I already realized how I was looking for what is feeling, because I always had very narrow image innerly about what is feeling. Feeling, I always thought that feeling is if you can show emotions, that is feeling. But yeah, that sounds maybe silly, but I was really curious and very busy with that in my head all the time, and while I was deprogramming and healing from the sexual abuse. And I also did not grasp why I still could laugh even when I was so unhappy, also in my front life. Well, when I started to realize that I had so many personality and so on, now I understand, of course. But yeah, it was last week. It was like everything came back, but then that I relived things in the here and now all again, like a carousel which came by round and around. And that was very challenging and very confronting. So, and another thing happened, like, as you know, I'm very open about that I had to fight against the eating disorders, and that also harmed my teeth, and that I for many years even did not go to the dentist because I was too scared of that I would be pulled back in the programming and by the programmers, which I believe was also at that moment, I think it was also a very real threat. And and that I also had last couple of weeks very much that I was into the fear of losing another tooth, which I visited a new dentist, and that was also an example. I love to share that as well, because that then is a great example of how these fears work in the here and now, while I also can feel happiness, and that I am very aware of what I do in this life, and I feel very whole. But for example, that I made that appointment with another dentist, because for me, I chose a biological dentist because I feel more, that's me, that's my own opinion, with a dentist who is not trying to force you with fluor in toothpaste and so on. And I had some experiences in that. But it was very fearful for me to make that appointment and to go there. So what happened was, I had that appointment on Tuesday, for example. Now that happened all last week. Well, Sunday, I was already preparing for how would I go there. So would I go with bike? Would I go with public transport? Would I go walking? and I was so in fears. I could not sleep. I did not sleep Sunday night. I did not sleep Monday night when I had Tuesday the appointment. Then Sunday evening I was already doing all these really like thorough research on how I would get there. But if I did find out about public transport, then I was totally freaked out because as many of you know, I hardly come in any public transport buses. I cannot remember. I believe the last time when I was sitting in a bus was in 2010. But yeah, after that I was a lot of years also inside of the house in my residence here, and I did start walking a lot and biking of recent. So that's totally again all well, but with a new environment, even biking was so fearful. But also to that part of this journey to this dentist was that the best option was by bike, because by bike it would have been 30 minutes biking, cycling. And I love biking. If it's not too long, I love biking, and it gives me freedom because I don't like public transport. But that was freaking myself out, freaking me out. That only by bike, because it was a new route or a new route. How do you say that in English? So it was a total new way, a new road for me to bike. That freaked me out. So then I decided, okay, then I will do partially public transport and partially by bike, and also a bit walking. Oh, what a goethe. I had, I'm not kidding. And this is pure an example how these 7 5 to 7 personalities who came forward only last week, how they tried to influence me with all their fears. And then I am aware that they are influencing me, but I cannot get out of it yet to change my behavior and to not be fearful. So I was there, I sent to my phone, to my app, of which I could then send the route, how I would bike, how I would go with public transport. I even messaged myself to my Telegram account, to my own account. Yeah, literally the address of course, but the whole route, the whole route with all all the places where I should stop for maybe when it would be too fearful to go into the metro with my bike. So oh man, oh, it was. But I love to share this. I hope it's not a too boring story, but it did happen. So I had 6 messages to my own Telegram app. And that was not enough. No, I also emailed it to myself, to my phone, because I thought if Telegram is not working, then I have to do it to my mail address. So can you imagine what? Yeah, I'm laughing at myself, but I also have tears in my eyes because it's pretty. Yeah, it's. I feel it's. Yeah, I'm sharing this now. What is in my inner life? But how nervous this is. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. By the way, the dentist is also in a big city, so and a total new part of the city. And I know that city very well, but I found out that a part of the city where I had to go to, that I didn't know that very well. And when I finally got there at the dentist, I had to ask 3 times people on my way to ask for where is that street, and the people were so sweet and kind. So I had apparently a very friendly approach, which I do because I was of course very honoring the people who did give me attention to explain the road, and everything worked. So I was also being protected and guided to be at the time with a dentist. But this is one example of how nervous my week was. Another example, and I'm now, yeah, this is what happens. I wear this is this. Blooper number one. uh, I'm wearing the dress I knitted, and I'm only wearing it for tonight to show because the the neckline is for me to, yeah, I try not to pull it down, but this is the traumas which were done to my neck, of that I was so many times choked that I cannot deal with woolen stuff. And so if you see me do this, then I hope I will not do that too much. But that is the remain of being heavily traumatized with it. But I just wanted to show you the dress, and it is a long dress, and I love it. I love the dress, and I promised to wear it in a live stream, but I will check the chat. Sunbeam Sting, now I have to think about the Fraggles under the ground. Oh, hey, welcome on this Twitch community. A warm welcome. Thank you so much for the following. Well, you are greeted with a huge animation. Yvonne says, nice dress, well done. Yeah, thank you so much, Yvonne. I love it. And another thing is that it's very wide here. So it's here, at least, but it's nice. It's very beautiful dress, but it is also a bit too wide for me. So, and it's okay. And it's very, very hot in this dress. So it's really comfortable. So again, and it's really, so anyone who likes who likes this dress, you can mail me. But that was in between. So another example of these nerves, of these personalities, were like I am doing a jigsaw. By the way, I love the background also with the planets. This is because for me, I love the galaxy. I love the whole with the Earth, that we really start to get to know about how Earth, but also the other planets are, on other colonizations, on other worlds. But I'm now doing a jigsaw of 5,000 jigsaw pieces, and that's the flyer from it, which was in the box. But I love this background, and I will show you not coming week, but the week following. So in a few weeks, within 2 weeks, I will do maybe a live even, and I will show you the jigsaw. So but to come back to the example of how fearful that was, that 5,000 pieces, that's pretty large puzzle, because that puzzle is then, I seem to recall that it is approximately 160 by 110 approximately. So that's a giant jigsaw puzzle. Well, I was so freaked out and so nervous that I could not join any piece, and I was totally also it was freaking me out, because I have to sort all the jigsaw pieces in colors. That's what I did. Well, what happened was that I freaked out because I thought I lost a piece which was a bit broken, and I glued it, and I lost it, and it was underneath. I have a huge plank of which I do the jigsaw, and it was stuck at the bottom of that plank, and I found it. But that's another example. Well, these are only 2 examples of how freaked out I was about, with these new personalities. And one other example was, as you know, I'm walking a dog lately, and with so much joy. And it is so amazing, and also because I want to take care of that I am physically also on the move, and I love going outside. And it's a very cute dog, very in his puberty, so I come by that as well. But it's great because then I have to lead him, and I have to trust, because as many of you know, with animals, and certain with dogs, that if you show insecurity with a dog, then he will take advantage of it. And I know that because I did have dogs in the past as well, but now in the here and now, gosh, and it was again when I was heading for going to walk out the dog, because I had to bike 7 minutes, and then stepping on the bike as well was such an I had so many nerves. It was an extreme week of nerves. Very fearful about losing my tooth, and that is trust. And teeth represent a lot, like teeth represent certain, they are connected with organs. If you believe a bit in acupuncture and in the spiritual part of the blueprints and of the aura healing, etc., then you know that teeth are extremely important. And I was going through a great inner journey last week. But yeah, it's nice to share that with you before I go to also the subject for tonight, what I experienced as well in all these experiments done to me. And I will go to the chat. Delvetje, I like the dress on you. It looks very cozy, just to crawl up into on the couch. Yeah, it is. It's very comfortable, and it is amazing long until my ankle. It's ankle long from top to ankle down, and it's really beautiful dress. So, but thank you so much, Delvetje. Yvonne, but you've done it. Be proud of yourself. Yeah, I am. I surely am. Delvetje, question: did the dentist save your dent? Well, that was a bit tough to deal with. That the message was that I would eventually, there is an infection, so that's a bit dentist talk, root canal, and I have a crown, which is called a crown, but I think it's called inlay, or I think it's called an inlay. I will look it up. What is crown in English? I think it's called different. Wait. One moment. Oh, that's of course literally the crown. Yeah, I know what it is, but what is tooth called? Yeah, I don't know, but it's at least, I think it's called an inlay or overlay. I think it's called for in English. And but there seems to be a little infection, but the dentist says you eventually will lose the tooth if that infection is blowing up. And until now it did not happen, but yeah, I could cry when I heard the message. So yeah, and very sensitive teeth. And when by the way, many former MK Ultras who are healing from MK Ultra, I know also, by the way, a lot of what they call super soldiers who were in my labs, that they also experienced a lot of teeth problem. And it's not only related, I believe, in my case, with what do we say now? I forgot what I want to say. Oh yeah, with the eating disorders. But it is also, I grinded my teeth a lot with the nerves in all my sleepless nights. So that is already a reason. I did not eat well. I did not have the right, how you say that, maybe calcium, you know, all these deprivation. So I think I lived very unhealthy in my life with all the personalities, because I was withheld from healthy food, and that makes teeth very vulnerable, and that they and I already lost 2 of my tooth, so that is also thanks. Yvonne, I had it last summer. They had to pull it out. Oh boy, yeah. But if I hope not all teeth, because that's the beauty of a biological dentist. This is why I went to the biological dentist. There are not many in Netherlands. That I just, that's my opinion. I feel fluoride, or how you call it, fluor, is poisonous in my opinion. So that was, I bumped into that in all my other dentists as well. So actually this was a great change for me. But with the root canal, if there is even a root canal in a tooth, like underneath this overlay, if I would replace that, then it would be literally a surgery. So I would literally have to undergo a surgery. And that was another part of the fear, that I don't dare to go to a physician. And these are remains of, and this is actually quite a good bridge, a philosophical bridge towards also my experiences with Joseph Mengele, who, he was not the only one, by the way, who tortured me with my teeth. And um, I, I had already, let me see, a drawing which I showed on my flyer today, and on my promotion for this, on my promo for this live stream of tonight. Uh, that was one of the tortures which many MK Ultras and former monarchs have to undergo. Oh, I see now that Twitch has an error. I hope I'm still live. I got an error in the streaming. So Yvonne says, at the moment my husband has the same problem. Oh gosh. Yeah, and I am talking about it, and now that tooth is aching. Yeah, so yeah, and toothache is one of the most horrific things. Sunbeam Sting, it is poison, fluoride. On many toothpaste tubes it will say it's swallowed, call poison control. This is written on the toothpaste in many countries. Exactly. So I refuse to take fluor. But it was so extreme with the dentist, and it was not the former dentist, because she was great. As dentist she was great, but I met with, we call that mouth, who takes care of the hygiene in the mouth, and I want to go there also very, at least every half a year. But yeah, she treated me so bad, and she even wanted to know if I had the, you know what I no, you know what I mean. Yeah, for the TOS I cannot say that word. And I felt that was for me a bridge too far. Speaking again of a bridge, like, you have no right to ask me if I have or not had the shot. You know what I mean. That goes too far. And then I asked her, because of when there were measures in mandates in the Netherlands at that time, and I had to have an extra through the mouth. I had to go through the mouth with a kind of, how you say that, spoelen, flushing. And that flush, I asked her, like, does that stuff to disinfect, does that have fluor? And then she looked at me with a bit very sneaky smile, like, no. And I did not believe her. So this was one of the reasons why I left. And I wish there were more biological dentists, because they look at the whole. They look at you as a whole person, and they take care of what you want as, yeah, in the treatments, etc. And I need that with my past dentist chairs. I was preparing for tonight, and I wanted to show some drawings, and I came along again drawings which were so extreme that I'm not sure if I will show them. So maybe at the end of the live stream I'm Jabadoo. Hey, that's a nice one, Yvonne. Hello, Into, welcome. I will. It is only a few seconds. I have to go a bit through the mic. I have to put the heater down. So I will be back. One moment. And maybe you did see a bit of my dress then as well, but I will show the whole dress also maybe coming week with the pictures or with a short video. So the chat, Nobby Noble, no drugs, no pharma, no injects, herbs, peptides, only here, herbs, exactly. Yeah, I'm also a herb woman, and take care of your health also with healthy vegetables and yeah, biological as far as that is possible. Delvetje says mouth rinse. Oh, that's it. Thank you so much for translating into a good one. I might ask about flush water. Yeah, because it harmed me in that way. Like how I wish she just would have said yes or no, but she did say no. But the way she said no, and on top of that, and it really happened. I don't exaggerate because you know that how I love having one day nice teeth again. But I miss two teeth because of the heavy abuse, because of the emotional damage, and because of my eating disorders. And again, to everyone who suffers from eating disorders, never listen to that inner voice of bulimia because it harms your teeth. It is so damaging, and also anorexia. Take care of yourself, and to everyone who suffers from that, you can also write me. I can give you some tips and info on how to prevent following the urge to not eat, of overeating, or with bulimia. It's really awful, and what I had to endure now because of all these years of heavy bulimia and anorexic. Please try to find help, and you can write me, and I will always answer. Jane, yes, I feel same about dentists. I'm trying to go to biological dentists too. Are they a bit more frequent there, Jane? I'm curious, or anyone else, or also I know people who watch from England. I'm very curious how your thoughts are. Are there also there biological or holistic dentists? Into, yeah, we see right through that wasn't a no. Yeah, and I don't mention names, so I thought, well, I can give that example because it hurt me. It hurt me so much that I belated my appointment, but it was for me the the sign, and now I'm going to find a biological dentist, and I am very lucky to live pretty nearby. Actually 30 minutes on a bike. So I'm very fortunate that I can go there. So but yeah, Jane says there are biological dentists, but not many in America. I know of one in Albuquerque. I hope I pronounce it well enough, Jane. Yeah, it is. I think, I hope more people will go into that. But yeah, Nobby, there's mainly NHS, a British Empire dentist here in England, so we never use them. Yeah. Ah, new follower. Hey, slow moving. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How an interesting name, username. Welcome. On this on the Twitch community. Yeah. So, but yeah, into struggling with teeth here also. Ain't got many left. Not going in further details. I got a fake smile in the near future, I think. Oh, well, this is yeah, sharing is caring, for each other, I think, because yeah, I'm glad that I expressed it, because I don't want to project like, oh, I'm so sad, I'm so poor me. Well, this is also part of the reason that I'm now looking for a job and to to save money for, yeah, for the dentist, because I want to fix my teeth. And yeah, it is one of the things I really pity that I did not take care of the eating disorders enough. But yeah, I can do a whole live stream on my eating disorders alone. That how what a journey that was. That I'm not exaggerating if I would say some details. People even would not believe me how extreme my eating disorders were. Also here in the deprogramming years, here inside this residence. But it is not for now. And the dentist, I did show already. I will now go for this drawing to to show you that drawing, which I also put on the event, which is it is pretty intense. So if you're prone to yeah, that you can, if you're vulnerable to that and dentist and torture, there you don't see any blood, but you do see, yeah, it's pretty intense. I think, but I'm always trying to deal with and to balance out that I am not over triggering you all. Now, come on. I'm now looking up. I'm now talking to myself. Jane, I have some black teeth gone because of directed energy attacks, radiation damage. Yeah. Oh my God, that is so extreme, and it does exist, dear people. So also go to Jane's channel on YouTube, because she is heavily being attacked by direction energy weapons, and it does exist. I myself am very lucky that for some reason I do feel at times that I'm being attacked with radiation, but not so intense as you, dear Jane. I'm privileged that I'm not being attacked in that way too often. They do it in other ways, but I think every mind control is again different. Every former monarch or MK Ultra, maybe it's it's very individual, I believe. But Jane also says your animation with new followers is great. Yeah, I like it too. And because I honor you all who join me, and I truly do. So into back later, time for a little walk. Well, have a great walk into. See you later. Nobby, never allow them to nuke your teeth. Yeah. Well, in England, I was to come back to that, Nobby. I know in England, I'm not sure if that's still the case, but I had friends in England, but it was before, that was already years ago. You see, there I go again with my dress. I'm sorry. I cannot deal with anything what is higher than my, what do you call it? Sleutelbenen. Oh gosh, I need to learn my English vocabulary again. But the collarbone, everything above my collarbone, I start to pull down. So I apologize for that behavior. I try not to do that. But oh yeah, to come back to England, that in NHS, I believe a dentist is still free, in England. That's the good thing, that the health issues there are still free. Here in the Netherlands, it's so expensive. And also the dentist, it's just, yeah, it's not to complain, but it is incredible, yeah. Delvertje, last Thursday, I believe I had a direct energy attack. I did lose my mind for a bit. Oh, that's extreme. Delvertje says collarbones. Yeah, exactly, collarbones. Nobby says you pay with your life. The British have their NHS. Yeah, but it's oh yeah. To come back to, so I had friends. and they came with their whole family to the Netherlands because the dentists were better in the Netherlands, and that differs per country. I will also now, for example, put off the notification because I think you hear that notification tone. So that's done. I take a sip of my tea. So, Nobby says, us English don't get out for free, just the BBC, British lot with their... Oh, okay. So it's no longer free. Well, I thought it was included, but that's of course differs with every country. Let me see, because I need time, of course, for... First, I show you the drawing, which many of you already have seen, but I will put it again. Where is it? I have this one. But yeah, talking about teeth, I now feel that toothache. So and that is really, for me, very important to stay in the trust that infections can heal. Infected tooth can heal, and I have to trust in that. So. Yeah, speaking about, meanwhile, I'm looking for that drawing that I'm now doing some job interviews and so on. Well, these fears also take care of that. I for hours on forehand am very busy with that I'm prepared well enough. Well, the advantage is I am prepared enough because with all the investigation and so on and the research, I have an incredible fundament for to start this job interview. And coming weeks I have also a couple, and one of them is it maybe is a very simple job, but I love being outside and it's good for my physical health. And that to become a male woman to take care of the mail of other persons. I find it also very funny, me becoming a postman, a postwoman. Yeah, I'm laughing at it, but yeah. It's taking my own things in my own hands, you know. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm still looking for this. Still looking for the drawing. Ariel Kieser, hello! So grateful to have been able to join you today. Hello, Ariel! Welcome! Welcome on YouTube. Thanks for joining. I am about to start about, well, a bit now the more serious stuff about the tortures and the experiments in the laboratories I had to undergo in my Monarch, but also in my MK Ultra programming with Joseph Mengele. But the drawing which I want to show you is part of, of course that happens. You know what happens now? I see now two large icons, small icons. I need medium icons. Why? Okay. So I will get to that drawing, but yeah, that happens, of course. Maybe it's also the nerves, because it is a tough subject. So for the coming hour, half an hour, you might hear pretty intense details. But as always, I try to do that as integer and also at times a bit light-hearted way, because I don't want to be so over detailed in these descriptions, but I also like to share it with you. And it's interesting. This is what happens. Then I'm looking for the drawing and I cannot find it. And this is an example of that, and these former inner personalities try to withhold me from showing you this drawing. And that is so tiring, and I feel that in my head as well. Let me see, where is it? Oh, dee dee dee. Oh gosh, this is awful. I I don't get it. Where is it? Ah, I have it here. Okay. Finally, finally, I got it. Control F. Oh, wait. Okay. This one I will now show you in as a whole. And this was, by the way, in I had a lot of tortures. I say it tortures. My programmers always mentioned it like they were looking for the God codes, which I will go also more in detail. And this is that drawing, and you see it now as a whole. And this is very done with many MK Ultras, but also like Super Soldier programming and my labs. I think I was also taking part in these programming. I was forced to, of course, because I did join Black Ops in my MK Ultra, and also on Montauk I also had to undergo experiments. And one of it is what you see in the middle, and I know it's a frightening image. It could be in a horror movie. Maybe if maybe I will see it one day in a horror movie or horror television show when they saw my image. Yeah, I'm also a bit light-hearted in it. You see, by the way, also my old name. I will put it a bit because otherwise it's too confusing, I think. Let me see how I can do that. And I did a lot of times use the name Monique for everyone who's new, so let me do that. Cut it off. And maybe now, if you see this image, that you also understand why I am also so frightened for a dentist. Because you see this, I a lot of times had a device in my mouth which would spread my teeth and my mouth fully. Because I always know that word, the amandelen. Why don't I know that word? Amandelen. Amandelen in English. These glands in the throat. And I have to look it up. Tonsils. I know that word and I had to look it up. I apologize for that because that is my inner resistance and these inner personalities who don't want me to talk about it. Tonsils are actually, they are seen as that they are not so important. I'm not sure if that has been changed now of recent years, but when I was very little, my tonsils were never taken out, and that was with purpose, because my programmers and in these experiments, and also Joseph Mengele, who was one of my main programmers, as many of you know, he wanted to experiment a lot also on my tonsils. And this is maybe the reason why I am still pretty healthy. And with healthy I mean I have now and then, can occasionally have a flu, but that I have a really extreme cold, that's very rare. And he wanted to stimulate my tonsils as well, and this is why this mouth needed to be pushed open. That counts as well in the MK Ultra programming for the eyes, that these klemmen, I will also look it up, a klem in English, so that these instruments, these medical instruments to spread also the eyelids. Ik zal het ook eventjes opzoeken. I will also look it up. Klem, emphasis. No. Klemmetje. Clamp. Hey. Clamp. that this clamp also for the eyes and for the mouth were used heavily. Also, when I was in Montauk, um, by the way, Montauk, a lot of people think that in Montauk that there were overall little boys being, well, experimented on and abused, because I saw also a lot of sexual abuse in Montauk, and it was in a theater where I saw, yeah, young boys being abused and sexually abused and harassed in an yeah, in an unhumanity way, and that was also part of their programming, because many of these boys, that's maybe a side branch of what I wanted to talk about tonight, but that in Montauk was done a lot with time travel and to travel through gateways to other portals, through other portals to in the galaxy and so on. And many of these boys had to be charged with sexual energy. And that's the Kundalini energy I talk a lot about. And this Kundalini energy, if it's connected with sexual abuse and specifically through, how can I say it in the best way that it's not too invasive, but from behind, then I don't dare to use that word which stands for it. That activates the Kundalini energy, and it's charging up the sexuality, and it's like what I saw also in literally when I was in the laboratories on these television screens, which showed then the energy, that it looked like lightnings, and that charging of these little boys would take care of that. I saw, for example, go through these gateways to other dimensions, or a portal is maybe another word for it. That the number 7 is a holy number also for the deep state and for these experiments where I was, and with the training of these boys to jump into time or go through portals to other colonizations and so on. What also occurred to me were that they were overall 7 boys at a time. So 7 boys at a time would then jump through a portal, and they were then charged with sexual activity on the forehand in a theater in Montauk. And what I recall in Montauk was a theater which was actually a bit close to, here I go again, you see, I cannot bear this dress. Uh, that that was actually pretty close to the front building of Montauk, and that theater, I still can recall that in detail, that it had a bit curved podium, and on that podium then these boys were then charged with the sexual electricity, and the charging did not happen with Satan or Lucifer, but with what I also wanted to talk about is that there was a charge like a battery. You see a lot in Montauk, maybe also other survivors have talked about it. I have seen there all kinds of coils, and these coils were of copper coils, and some were giant, some were smaller, and I was sitting on what they also called the golden horse, and that was actually like a very large, round, curved, very of copper, very shiny copper, and I had then to lie on top of that, and that also gave a certain charge. And that was not Lucifer or Satan, but it was related to the lightning. That was actually a substitute for Satan and Luciferian energy, because they could also provoke that through the dark matter. I talked earlier about the dark matter. The dark matter is, in my opinion, not a positive energy, and that's just my opinion. Maybe I could be wrong, but it's what I experienced, and I do my live streams only saying and talking about what my purest experience was, straight from my experience and my memories. And that's all. It's my truth, and I hold on to that. But maybe others remember it differently. And that dark matter, beyond the dark matter, there is the realm of Satan. Hey, another follower, thank you so much. Slanted dish editing, slant editing, or I hope I pronounce it well. Welcome on Twitch. I will next time repair the follower announcement because I cannot see your full name. But thank you so much for joining. I feel so blessed with you new followers and subscribers on my other channels. Welcome. A big warm welcome in this community. I will check the chat. And I love questions, as you know, so if you want to ask me, you can ask me anything. The only thing what I ask in return is respect, and then I will also give a respectful answer, and we are a respectful community here, and a warm community also for people who had underwent MK Ultra or mind control or whatever abuse. You're welcome here. And I will also guard that you are being treated with respect. But yeah, people who are with me know that I am like that. And Nobby says, Jane, Celia, your channel looks interesting. Yeah, it is a very interesting channel. So, and a lot also about this directed energy attacks. Okay, I'm now up to date with the chat. So, but I want to stay to my story on Montauk and these experiments with that loaded and this electricity, the charging of the boys. This is a very important aspect of MK Ultra. Not only Monarch programming, which I also had, that is the presidential programming. Next time I will do more about presidential programming, which I was also sadly enough also part of. But this specific MK Ultra, and also with my Black Ops programming and with Joseph Mengele, well, then I had a very broad programming layers in me. But this charging with Kundalini energy, and in that way also with the serpent energy, and like snakes and serpents are not specifically that they are bad. It is about how it has been, what the origin is, and how it's and where it's being embedded. For example, I never heard any MK Ultra talk or former monarch I met. This is also the first thing what I can reveal. I mean, it's my truth, you know, I don't have any proof. Yeah, I know there is proof of my existence, but I am apparently not the one who can show you the documents, because they are stored, and I just have to wait for the right moment that it will be revealed. But I know it will be revealed. I'm not doubting that. But that I saw a golden snake, a golden serpent. This golden serpent is not a hallucination, was not shown by me in a hallucination, maybe through drugs or herbs. I did talk about that a lot, that in my programming hallucinating herbs and medicines were used at times, but also many times not used. But for specific my programming, I needed to be as clear as possible in my head. So no drugs, all pure on the fear done to traumas, and with the fundament which was embedded by my main programmers, which were 4 in total. So this golden snake, it had the shine of, like you have the very thin gold leaves, which you can buy and you can eat. You have that it was very refined gold. And when I touched that golden serpent, and this golden serpent was only being called up in giant rituals of where Satan was present, and he preferred as well that Lucifer also was present, and then certain monarchies. So this was with the elite of the elite, and this serpent this serpent was gold and giant. When in these rituals, when the serpent was called up, then it had to circular around me, and yeah, I was holding it, and the serpent. There was one time in that giant ritual, and I will go back to the Montauk, by the way. But I am like that. I follow how I talk is, and I follow the flow of my spontaneous talking. So that is the way I do it, to be spontaneous. But I found it interesting to share that with you all for the first time, and I never dared to talk about it because I myself never met any, for as far as I did meet former MK Ultras, because I don't watch any other MK Ultras in their live streams or videos because I can't. It is too confronting. I see the hurt, I see their programming, I see their former programming, I see their healing process. And I'm sure many, maybe other deprogramming MK Ultras have the same with me. So I mirror maybe also too much hurt and the former programming. I don't know, but I can imagine that former programmed ones also don't cannot watch my live streams because of that. And I understand. I understand I understand, of course. But yeah, interesting, this golden serpent, and this was also connected to the dark matter, and that I within the satanic rituals, but also on Montauk. This is why I maybe as already tiny girl, was present there at Montauk to ride the horse, as my programmers called it. That then I also met this serpent, this golden serpent at times. All done without even that Lucifer or Satan would be present, but with these coils, and that would with the charging, that I would just immediately be connected through the dark matter also towards this realm of Satan, without that Satan had to be materialized. When I did the rituals, for example, of which I talked about in other live streams, that I also was forced in my also Mother Goddess role, but also in my Patricia and Black Widow altars. Well, I had so many personalities who also did these satanic rituals, but that's a whole other subject. So to come back to Montauk. And these, what you see on this drawing, there down below you see hands holding here in front of my chest, and you see there the heart. This was my own heart. Already when I was very little, and I was 6, 7, 8 years old, there were already advanced techniques, and med beds do exist, like you see on Star Trek, which you can lie underneath, and then you have kind of a mechanical bridge which would then be brought over you, which you also see on Star Trek. On this this physician's part of the ship. And now I lost my train of thought. It will come back. The device what you see on the other side here, that it was like an artificial intelligence device, and it could make my chest transparent. So it sounds maybe strange, but I had to grab myself this brace which you see. And yeah, it sounds maybe weird, but these 3 things were majority done with almost every MK Ultra. That these experiments on the heart, the experiments on the eyes, and in my case, in my throat and in my tonsils. And yeah, I again, this is maybe why also my tonsils are still, yeah, they did not, they never were removed. And I know in my time for sure that it was, yeah, a very, yeah, normal actually to do that in the Netherlands, to cut these tonsils out. So I will now remove the drawing because it's even for me pretty triggering. Sunbeam Sting question: can you explain in short what the mother goddess means? Well, the mother goddess is a personality which I had also mother goddess, and this mother goddess, it is a bit it's different from the experiment. So this is more the ritualistic part of my programming, of my former programming. With the mother goddess is also, and that's for me hard, is also in a way training other slaves to become kind of nuns for Satan and Lucifer. So I was trained to be the leader in the satanic rituals, to be capable of also having Satan through me and Lucifer through me in the rituals. So mother goddess are actually literally like mother goddesses who have a leadership role in, also in the world, that many mother goddesses in the world were also active in the shadow world on the highest level in rituals. That's maybe the best answer. And many mother goddesses were active in cathedrals in the underground, and also in Rome, in Venice underground, in these holy places where also the black and the white pope were doing rituals. And that's very short said, that the mother goddess is one of the, yeah, highest level of being a goddess for Satan and Lucifer. And I'm not proud of it at all, because yeah, it's, you can maybe a bit compare it to yeah, like a convent where you have nuns, and then you have the one who is the head nun, and I forgot. I think they also call it mother. Also, it's something with mother. So maybe that is a bit the answer and explanation. Sunbeam Sting says, "Oh wow, thanks for explaining this. Now something I have encountered in the past makes more sense." Okay, well, you're welcome. I see. Thank you, Yvonne, for reminding me the time. It is for sure now almost maybe towards 9 o'clock, so I will take a small break, and then I will continue my story about Montauk, but also about Joseph Mengele and what I came across in laboratories, and which is maybe a tough subject, but I want to touch upon also. I was heavily from a close witness to experiments and on gender changes. And it's not because I talked recent of the woke stuff and all that stuff, what is going on with genders. It is what before that was already here in the worldly world, more getting in the picture. I was from a close witness to that, and with experiments of Mengele. So I will past the break, will continue with that. Hey Tineke Jessie, time flies so very fast. Yeah, indeed. Yes. Why they love experiments on us? Well, I think I already said it a lot of times. It is to find the God codes and to change humanity forever, to get the soul of every humanity. So in this way they can become God, and this is also what is with the God particles in CERN. It really concerns me there, because I felt it, that was in 2023. I felt it when they turned it on. It is so dangerous, and I now say it again, But I don't like preaching, but it is so dangerous. That CERN is a portal. It's one of the most important portal places. Speaking of these jump spots, which I was also from a close, also from Montauk, and with riding the horse, and I was involved with yeah, I will not mention the name, but certain military facilities in the USA, and Pegasus rides, and several. I was on certain Pegasus levels as well, active also in the Black Ops. So, but yeah, that will. I was already saying that I was going for a break. Another follower, welcome. Wow, welcome here. So warm welcome on Twitch, and again this amazing animation. An overload, but I love overload. I love an overload also about little lights and so on. Nobby, we're bad enough with 5Gs. Oh gosh. Well, Nobby, I mean, I understand the joke. But these three men were the most kind, sweet people ever. But I know what you mean. It is it is a joke. I get it. Yeah. So I will not mention the names because I'm also not doing a lot with names, and that I'm not calling out names. But I do get it why you say that. But yeah. I don't know what to answer, but these three were so incredible kind, and one only of them is left. Such a great, beautiful person, in and out, and he stayed out of the MK Ultra. They stayed out. They were capable of staying out. And that says something in the music industry. And I always loved their music. Yeah, I love their music. Alright, I will play a song, and then I hope you will stay. I will go for fresh tea and play a song, and I will do a break, a bit 9:10, 5 to 10 minutes, just a short break. First the music. Let me see if I can get there easily. They kept out of that, but not love. But not love. Well, yeah, yeah, I cannot say too much. And besides, I'm not sure if anyone would believe me, but also the Brunson brothers stayed out. Trumpet players. Oh, I'm not so into trumpet music. It's, yeah, I'm not so into the trumpet sound also. But I know there were famous trumpetists, by the way, as well. Very talentful. Don't tell them. And I feel all the time my tooth. Speaking of that, I was talking about the dentist earlier. Man, oh man. And now I'm still looking for the music. Where is my break music? Okay, let me see, what will I do? Beyond the Stars. This is a bit a slow song. It's like it's like I wanted to go come up, and then with this music is a bit fairy tale like. So I will choose now a more happy song, because I think you all will you will fall asleep with this one. All the way up. Let's try this one. A happy song. I grab myself my fresh warm tea. See you in a bit. Tiptoe through the tulips. Yeah, Dutch, yeah, Dutch. Oh, gee, you hear my tea? Oh gosh, I forgot to put off the mic. But some honey. I love honey in my tea. I know it's maybe more healthy to not take honey, but I love sweet tea. So Yorkshire. In case you wonder what I'm doing. Oh. In case you were wondering what I'm doing, I was Nobby Noble, we have the white rose. Ah, okay, the white rose. Yeah, as a symbol. You have a very sensitive mic. Yeah, Tinik Jessie, I know. I'm aware of that. Nou. So, with and I will go into a vulnerable subject in a bit, but yeah. Okay, I keep it now a bit on the background. I feel like I want to continue because okay. All right. I wanted to go to very smooth, go the audio make a bit less, but uh, Sunbeam's thing. To be honest, I encountered a mother goddess, and she basically ruined for truth hangouts with underhanded tactics. Yeah, well, sadly enough, if a mother goddess is not, they have, it's an interesting subject, these mother goddesses, because they have tactical positions worldwide. And I heard from others, well, that's already years ago. Oh, I heard some sound, but it is my thermos, so we will close it. I thought, what's going on here? But it is my thermos, which makes sounds. That in my time, when my mother goddess was inner mother goddess was created, there were not yet that many. And later on, I heard from someone that it could be in the thousands. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the truth, but yeah, I cannot say that it is the truth that there are not that many mother goddesses, because it is extreme. I mean, I already had extreme traumas as fundament, as base to start life, but to be a mother goddess, it is. I did not talk about that too often, but mother goddesses are also trained to lead others into deception. So I do recognize that, sadly enough, some sunbeams thing. And they also, you have also sleepers, like you have sleeper cells, and sleeper cells also. What I also talked about in other live streams about what happens now with all these shootings, they're not always faked. I wish somehow that most of them were hoaxes and faked, because then it would at least not cost any lives. But sadly enough, there are sleeper cells, and yeah, they are hidden and sleeping, and then awoken by a certain programming code, and then it's being released, and then things happen in these schools and so on, and it's very sad. It saddens me because my own son James, yeah, he's also trained in. He's living in an underground city, and he has a personality in him who is trained even to end my life if that programming kicks in. But yeah, I trust in also certain protection, in godly protection, so I'm not scared. But of course, I think about that a lot of times, like yeah. But yeah, I cannot uh, be busy with it too much, because then I don't have a life any longer, because then I could also think like, yeah, my former programmers could also maybe wait for the moment that they could pull me from the street physically. I am very careful, alert, by the way. I'm always, when I'm in a new environment, despite being in full fears. I think that's also part of what I explained in the beginning of the live stream, that I'm always researching when I go to a new place or spot, that I have several ways of getting there, But that is also part of being alert and my former hidden life, to always be prepared for situations, for coincidental situations. Sunbeam Sting. Wow! Hey, welcome! A verse. Yeah, I don't get the whole name, but welcome here. Wow, I'm so grateful for your following, and yeah, I'm heading for that 350 followers on Twitch. Welcome on this beautiful Twitch community and the people here, and for everyone who is watching from Facebook or from Rumble or Odyssey. I'm not sure if I'm live there. Join me also on Twitch or on YouTube. There are the most interactive chats. So thank you so much for joining again. And I always say that, like, subscribe, of course, but also comment. Also later on, if you rewatch, I always will answer as soon as I can. And it helps me also to be more visible on YouTube, specifically in the algorithm. So thank you. So to continue with, and I love seeing your questions also in the chat, or if you wanna react. That I love that. So to come back to Montauk, well, with these boys, I heard from other survivors that Montauk was specifically for boys. I still am not sure why I as a little girl already was there as a girl. But I was also going through these portals. I also heard from other survivors that boys are more capable of going through these portals. And I myself was never explained why that is. Maybe someone can explain me that, or maybe someone has an own past as my lab, or had his or her own experience with that. I do understand that female and male do have certain differences, but to me, yeah, I was never explained why I was there, and I also was never very busy with that innerly. Like, why was I watching as girl there in Montauk? So, and it was a very, what I do remember also there in Montauk was that one room which was filled with what I mentioned earlier, these coils, but also machinery. And there were also machinery and these coils also to call up beings from other dimensions. And that went wrong a couple of times. I know from one witness who said that there was one time a creature being called up, and now they could prevent it from entering it in the realm of this earthly dimension. And if that being would have succeeded to go onto the earth, well, that would have become disastrous. But I saw other creatures also entering earth, which were a bit less evil, if I can say it like that. But yeah, it is. There is so much being not told and not shown to us, because I know many survivors now talk about it. So I'm certainly not the only one, but there are many survivors who talk about it now. That there is far more advanced technology already for years on Earth. Well, more than years. Ancient technology, which I talked about that as well already in early live streams. I have seen very near even volcanoes, that I've seen this machinery who could deal with lava and a certain, what I saw was the mixture of lava and a kind of fluid which looked like water, which is of course I think, impossible, but I'm not a scientist. Maybe someone can explain that too, or maybe someone. And also also that was also what I already a couple of weeks wanted to ask. Like, if someone is coming from MK Ultra or Monarch programming and wants to stay anonymous or wants to share something, you can write me on my email address, and with I will never reveal your name, your person, what you write me. But if you would write me something and you would, for example, want to be a guest in my live stream, even with audio, and I can even disform the audio, then you're very welcome. You can approach me, and I will do that with utmost carefulness, that your identity will not be revealed. But I love to create something that we will come together, also as former MK Ultras, as former Monarch slaves, and the people who are watching these live streams, just that we all can come together in our differences and then create something of which a platform, yeah, to get the truth out. But I'm also curious if someone is recognizing my story, because there's one thing what I truly can say from the heart, and what is the truth, that I never check things. So yeah, that's I think that's also maybe good, because this is why I can talk from out pure my own experiences, pure from the heart, and what I experienced, straight from what I experienced. But it has also a risk, because I might maybe remember something and no one else is remembering it in this way, or maybe things have been changed. So, but yeah, that's the adventure what I'm doing. Tinnik Jesse, they want to destroy everything. The beauty, yeah, God. They want to destroy God. They want to become God and destroy God or the Creator, and that the creativity with love, unconditional love, and so on, that will be destroyed. That's what they want. And also, to come back to, because I wanted to talk about the laboratories, and with Joseph Mengele, I already a couple of live streams showed how I sketched and how I knew Joseph Mengele, and I described the room where I was often, and that he had his room had two segments. Segments? Did I say that right? With these slide doors, and then at the back section were several closets, of which, or vitrines, is how they also called, with glass like closets, and behind it, yeah, he then kept, of which he did experiments on, and all the most horrific things. Looking back, I was so often in rooms of my former programmers who had like souvenirs, the most horrific things. Like two of my programmers had souvenirs like what was dried human skin, and that was not the worst thing what I've seen. I seen one programmer which I called White Rabbit had a lot of memorability, how you say that, memorables, which he called souvenirs from the man with the little black moustache, which was also one of my basic programmers. And he had, I never got proven if it was accurate or not, but it was a tiny, it was maybe as large as, it was as big as this, or as small as this. And that is approximately 25 to 30 centimeters. And he said it was a tiny human, and that these humans were one time living on Earth, and that they helped also the plants and the flowers. And from this tiny, which was like a mummified tiny human being, actually a mini human, and that he said that it was part of that from there also came the origin of the leprechauns, and that these beings were taking care of the plant life and the forests, and that the forests were far more habitat with life and with insects, that there were a lot more animals and insects present at the time, because these tiny beings were taken care of. I never got proven if I'm accurate, by the way, so it has been told. That's all what I can say. And I was shown this tiny mini, and this programmer showed me that, and he said this is the only one which is left, and I have that I have that only little tiny person. And it looked real, by the way, and it was not a programmer of which I could, of whom, or yeah, it was not a programmer who would kid with me or would make me ridiculous in that way. He was too proud of his collection of souvenirs, so that was one of the things what I saw, and that was in his military base, where he had also his full, like a villa-like interior, and then he had his own souvenir room with all these collectibles, which he called them as well. So now, the British Empire, a lot with their monarchy, have been experts at destroying. Well, it is said that it's yeah. I believe that it's the most important thing in my opinion is that we go back to that goodness can rule again, and the creator, and that it is in leadership, and I truly believe that then also monarchies can change. Because I truly believe that and feel that if, for example, every country would be replaced by a president, who will then grant me the 100% assurance that that president will be honest? I think it's more about who is honest and sincere and coming straight from a good heart. I think we should head for that earth and that world again. True leadership and honest leadership and transparent leadership. Oh, I am so looking forward to that new world. I sometimes can feel it already, but I think we also are going through a lot of heavy stuff this year. I hope not, but I think we will meet extremities this year. I did have a hiccup. I hope I hope you did not hear that. On every live stream I have moments that I have a hiccup. So I want to go back to this laboratory with Joseph Mengele. When Joseph Mengele was visiting also the man with the little black moustache in Argentina, that there are many underground tunnels. Well, many of you will know that, and that they are also by now, of recent years, also being revealed by others. And these giant tunnels led to the laboratories of Mengele. Mengele had one private laboratory. He never showed me where it was in my programming. I was also deceived by that I sometimes would have the idea that I would travel a long time, and then it was actually only a short period of time that I traveled, and that is the confusing things about having being put in personalities who traveled. What I do know, that I still have in me the experience of, for example, with these speed tunnels, which went so fast that I had a feeling often when I came out of a tunnel like that, or out of that kind of speed tube, that I felt it in my stomach. It felt a bit like that my intestines were still getting used to that the speed had been stopped. But my programming took care of it, that not always the time travel I did, I mean the time travel, I mean I did also time traveling, but I mean when I traveled through these tunnels and then moved from one spot to the other, um, Joseph Mengele kept his most important laboratory secret. What I will never forget is that laboratory had a lot of cages, and in these cages were also put children. And in that giant laboratory, that was a giant space, and it felt like I knew it was underground, and I could see also the remains of rock inside. And that rock had, I can describe how it looked like. I did not know, he never revealed to me where the location was, and the rock what I saw coming through the walls was of a deep dark red. At times that deep dark red had also a shine, so shiny tiny gems in it. He never explained it where. I wish I could tell you where. Maybe others know or recognize this type of stone geologically. I hope so, because I'm always I love feedback. I love getting more information, and if some people know more about it, I would love to know. And it was giant, this place. So the laboratory with the cages, he had specific. By the way, also in that one private laboratory, he had a segment which felt like an encasement, and this encasement was of a matter that radiation and so on would not leak through. And I was a lot of times when I was also in underground facilities in that I came across that they still used paper and pen to write on, for example, because that like iPads and phones, computers were not allowed in where I was. Also because of the fear of that they could maybe, even despite all the safety measures and the security levels, that they wanted to prevent at any cost that there would go digital information through these walls. So I was a lot of times but that was in my time, and maybe it changed, but then a lot of times it went with paper, and even eatable paper. And that, for example, a message which I had to bring to someone else in my programming to another part of the world, and that it was written on the paper, and that when I had that coding put in another personality in me, and that I knew, okay, now I have the code and now I have the message, and that I also had to eat that paper, and it was solvable. It was owl, which they call it in the Netherlands. That is paper you can eat. So they were so careful in not allowing any of these devices. Again, I am from 2010. I am already out of the programming, so it could have been changed that now maybe the AI and the digital devices are now so well protected. Maybe that's all changed, because I did see a few videos about when it came from the super soldier programming, and that a lot of things have been replaced by AI and so on. But yeah, further on, again, I can only talk from my own experience. Well, Joseph Mengele not only wanted to change the iris color of the eyes, but he wanted to create, and in this way he did get the man with the little black moustache very eager to change the race, that there would be a blonde race. That is a truth which I also came across, that they had a certain ideal personality, a human, you could say, that they wanted to produce the most perfect humans. what was also a wish of Joseph Mengele was that he could create humanity and this perfect race with two hearts. And he wanted to change the irises, so the eye color, the hair color would be consistent with every next generation. But next to that, that I came across, and then I touch upon maybe a subject which is not everyone open to it, but that's more the alien part, that the gender swapping, and the gender that they could create and steer into genderless. So what's that called? Androgynous, and but also to traumatize people I've seen, and this is the sad thing. For example, it started, let me start with how it started. Through the underground tunnels, overall, when I was brought to, for example, New York and Washington, and also connected to Montauk, but also where I was from there headed towards that headquarter of Mengele to his laboratory, that in Washington there was a giant conservatory, and this conservatory had tropical plants, but amazing cages. Well, in these cages were brought in apes, gorillas, literally, I'm not kidding, animals, so apes. But there was an incredible hate towards people with other skin color. And this is also why Joseph Mengele wanted to create with that certain race. It is some way also connected to Andromeda, and Andromeda, if I say that well, because I'm now wanting to say too much at the same time, but behind Andromeda there is a kind of circular ring, which is, you could say, like a certain Milky Way, but it is a circle in white, like a Milky Way, and it's behind Andromeda, and you cannot see it from here, from Earth. I wonder if it's ever being discovered, but that's a secret civilization behind Andromeda. And this Andromeda has in the center, which looks like, not a circular planet, but it has edges, and this edges has incredible valuable matter in it to how you say that, to excavate. Now I have the word. And this is already on the radar for so long, to get that area and this ring. But the ring amongst it is a very protective colonization. Well, this colonization was connected to Mengele's spirit, also his evil spirit. Because, like in many colonizations, there has been steered into that there are certain species who became benevolent, and species who became violent and even aggressive towards humans. But that also had a reason, because from Earth, like for example with Mengele, he tried to grab that center. I cannot call it a planet because it was not fully circular. I don't know how it's called. And it's a very complex story. I hope you can still follow me. And Andromeda, well, Delvertje, there is Andromeda. You can look it up, I believe, but where is it? Where is it? It is in space. That's what I can say. And it is, I could tell you the coordinates, but I see the coordinates, but then I see also other codings through it, so that distracts me from the story. And I'm not sure if it is the right coordinates, because I am still deprogramming from also these personalities who were doing these black ops, but maybe I will write it down later on. And but good question, Delvertje. And I seem to remember that you have also an astrology sign, of not astrology sign, but stars, which also has Andromeda. And I can also, now I will do that later because otherwise I forget what I wanted to talk about because I see, oh, the time, oh, it is okay. So, that I was then to come back to in Washington, where this conservatory was with the tropical plants and these cages, of which when I was programmed already when I was very little, there were gorillas and apes being brought into these cages. And next to that also people with darker skin. So, and that is still one of my most hideous and most horrific memories, because also a couple of times my own sons were brought in. I was experimented on also through my DNA. So because of my origin with my genes, this is why the programmers, and this is why I had these four important main programmers as well, because of my two hidden bloodlines. And they also wanted to ridiculize me by doing experiments, but also fertility experiments, and doing that also with people with other skin, with darker skin. And I had also a couple of children in that case from this mixture and these experiments. And to traumatize me, that was important, that every time when I was in Washington that I was brought to these cages, and then with, in that time, those were two sons, for example, were brought in these cages with the apes and the gorillas. Yeah, and I was then so traumatized. I will not say what they did to my children, but they tortured them in front of my eyes. But this cage programming was the basement and the fundament for that the programmers hoped that they could withhold me from remembering ever what I witnessed in these laboratories with Joseph Mengele, for example. And yeah, that is then so deep embedded, that trauma, and I'm very grateful that, yeah, that I did start to remember, and now am so, yeah, whole and in a wholeness that I can produce now this story. So New York and Washington were very important. Another inner system what was important, also related to Dr. Green, was the other name for him, by the way, or Joseph Mengele, was the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty this is still what I try to find out, like you have the Mandela effect. I find that so interesting, that to me, for example, the harbor of New York, I remember differently. I remember differently the Statue of Liberty. That the Statue of Liberty was closer to New York than it now is. And it was a whole other entrance heading for New York through over the border when it was being used. And I'm still very intrigued by that whole Mandela effect. Things have been changed, and it could have been related to these very tiny historical timeline changes. So, and I did talk about that also in earlier live streams. So, so also Statue of Liberty was very important in that programming related to Dr. Green and Joseph Mengele. To come back to the Statue of Liberty, it is interesting that the woman, by the way, who's, yeah, I don't know if I should say that, but the Statue of Liberty, because I just decided to be more open about it, because first of all, before I start talking about this subject, I say it also in my latest live stream that I talked about gender, and that I came across in myself also doubt of what I would prefer in meeting with love, etc. That's being harmed because I was forced doing it with both sexes, with both women and men. And that created in me an incredible trauma. And fortunately, I overcame that. But that I stand for everyone's personal preference. If that is coming from within, then it is real. Then it's coming from within. So go for it, be happy. That's the most important thing. But I'm talking about being forcefully witnessing these experiments with changes of genders, and to come back to where I was traumatized with people with darker skin. I still am looking for the right word. Please let me know what you would prefer, or from Afro American heritage. Maybe that's also, but that's also not really accurate. So I hope you feel my good my good intentions, that I stand for these people. I stand for everyone who is righteous and wanting to live the way she or he wants. So that's for me the most important thing. That's my thrive. But the truth needs out as well of what I have witnessed in that, and that I've witnessed also this Joseph Mengele doing the most horrific changes, not only with twins, but also gender changes. And I have seen, for example, with I hope I can say that without being tearful. For example, little girls who he was trying to give them these male attributes, you know what I mean, which is below with what is male, the genitals. I've seen, and I think it's important that it's being also voiced. What I've seen. Um, he was really also ridiculizing humanity, but he wanted, for example, to create a girl and a mixture of that. I saw and he used overall children for that, very young children. But he also experimented with skin changes, and he wanted to, in this way, find out how he could. I hope I can say it well. I hope I will not start to cry, but that he, for example, peeled some skin from an Afro-American child and then transplanted it into that girl of with a wider skin. He wanted to find out if the also a lot with the fertility, like with the genitals, that he wanted to find out. He was obsessed with seeing also through with his own eyes how, for example, the skin would evolve or die off. But also with the testicles, how that would respond if he would sew it into a girl's womb. I've seen these things from a close, so then you have more an idea of what I was forced to witness already as a little girl. I've seen these most horrific surgeries done to children. Other experiments with gender swaps was literally with, they were scan devices, because the devices which are now into the world, in the public world, they are really far from what they are still not, I feel the devices when I witnessed when I was very little, I still don't see in the world of today. So can you imagine how far behind it is that we can heal the diseases? and also a lot of diseases should not even be here on earth, like cancers and all kinds of diseases should not be here and don't have to be here or can be healed. But I've seen all these horrific experiments done as well, with devices which would swap the hormones of, for example, a little girl, which Mengele wanted to find out if he could put into that girl a more male attitude, more male character stuff, but also more the male sexuality without having to implant these genitals. Yeah, I know it sounds bizarre, it could be a horror movie, but it's, yeah, as God is my witness, I truly saw it from a close. And why did I see it from a close? Because yeah, Joseph Mengele wanted me to see it from a close. I was with my 40 programmers, former programmers, I was some kind of, for them, their child, their precious child. Maybe they also did that with other children, but I never came across anyone else who had these same memories, and I don't check other survivors. So yeah, I'm open to if someone wants to share their or her own opinions, if they also had watched these horrific experiments done to Joseph Mengele. And not only Joseph Mengele, but Joseph Mengele was obsessed by not only twins, but he wanted to also ridiculize humanity, and he wanted to create a zoo for humanity. He wanted to have a zoo for if he would have created this perfect race, then he wanted to. I saw. Yeah, maybe you find me ridiculous and crazy, but I've seen a mini version of his, almost like he founded his holy grave and his future, like a kind of amusement park. He wanted to create a zoo of which he would then show all human types, and then in these mixed up creations. And I talked, one thing what I did already reveal and talked about my experience was the creation of a boy. Yeah, I also will never forget that he was putting his fingers through the wired cages, and that he tried to get attention from me and help, because he had the lower body of a giant bird. I did see it, these misformations, is that the right word? This horrific tortures. And it was not only that he did that, but also after the surgeries that I saw, he did take care of that the victims who had to undergo these surgeries, that they got to soothe their pains. So they did get tranquilizers and so on, and painkillers. But I've seen also the phases of how the majority of these experiments, of course, did not work out. Were fatal for these victims, and this is why until this very day I cannot eat meat, because I've seen too many stages of dying meat, and all kinds of I've seen too much, and this is the reason why I will never, I think, be capable of eating meat. And a lot of former MK Ultras and monarchs, by the way, also in this way become vegetarian. Vegetarian. I don't know the words, but yeah, I know it's a heavy, tough subject. I will go through the chat, then I can also breathe a bit, because it does a lot to me. And to come back to this little boy, this is what happens. Sometimes with memories, I can still get tearful. and sad, and other memories I can say almost with a certain distance. There are always certain memories which keeps me becoming emotional, and that is because then layers in me have more access at the time, probably, to the emotional layer in me. And I don't know, I cannot explain it, but I know more survivors have it. More survivors recognize that, I'm sure. Tideke Jessie, yes, what's they want blue eyes and blonde hair. What's the reason? Well, also that Andromeda reason, and also a certain type of humans which origin also from out of space, which were tall, blonde, human-like beings with blue eyes. That also was part of it. You see some by some not normal eyes and some ears by some government leaders. Yeah, you can observe. Sometimes I recognize with some, not only world leaders, but that they're clones. And clones is not a fairy tale. Clones do exist, but there is a giant but. And again, I am. I have to laugh. There is a giant but. I'm sorry. This is me. That I have that humor again, and that's that balance for the counterbalance for that awful stuff which I had to witness. But um, that from 2010 I'm no longer in the programming, so it could be changed. I'm sure they have now more advanced models of cloning, but cloning does exist. But in my time they had still mistakes, because the soul can never be captured. That the Satan, Lucifer, and the whole demon army, and everyone who wants to grab the soul and the God codes, it is impossible. And this is what they will, that they somehow don't get. And this is what I don't get, that they don't get it by now. And God is not, God's creation is not available to grab. So because you need unconditional love, and if there is one thing what is evilness it doesn't have, is unconditional love. It's very simple for me, but yeah, thank you so much, Yvonne. Oh, that's true. Yeah, the react button, you see. Yeah, that little tiny emote with react, and it creates also that I'm more visible on Twitch. And I always forget to add my bio.link. And maybe for some of you, you already seen it, that I changed the S in Elizabeth to Z, and it has a reason. I was ready to change it in a Z only when I was ready, and it was only of recent. Because I was a lot of times with the Z a bit in a resistance towards it, and I was not ready yet to engage with the power I feel now with the Z, and I mean the power for the good, the power in the goodness and the righteousness of how I feel the world should be, that everyone should be free. And another thing is the pollution. Well, when you see on my channels that also Dana Durnford was a couple of times guest in my live streams, and it is part of that I'm hugely concerned about the pollution. It is a total different subject from Mengele, but it is a very concern from me, and also from countries who pollute. That there are countries who pollute more than other countries. Yeah, I'm very concerned with our environment and with nuclear energy. It's dangerous, so I hope we all get together, not only to create freedom for everyone, and freedom for all, but also that we can clear up this beautiful earth, and again, that we don't lose more species in nature, and that people can see clear skies again. Because some countries have skies which are no longer the blue skies. You know also what I'm talking about, also about chemtrails. And it's luckily being more proven that it exists. But yeah. Oh gosh, I see that it's now already 10 o'clock. Nobby 404, that link, Ray. Z 404. So, to come back to the laboratories, these children, by the way, in the laboratory, that was really a giant laboratory, and um, he had all kinds of wings in that laboratory, and these children, before I entered into Mengele's private laboratory, I went through a corridor, and that behind the corridor there were then the wings of where the children who were experimented on and did surgical procedures on, like what I mentioned with, yeah, with these horrific things. I won't repeat again what I've witnessed. But the other thing is about, to come back to what I've witnessed, was these devices of what I already mentioned, that these hormones and that male energy would then flow into, like a bit avatar way. And I know it sounds science fiction, but and you see it a lot in science fiction movies, but it does exist, this swapping. I've seen in the experiments that, for example, people who were hetero, it doesn't matter, or bisexual, it doesn't matter to me. Huh? Let it be clear. I love you. I love you how you want to live. I love you. I honor you how you want to live. But I talk pure about the programming and being forced. And that I've seen also people who were punished by, for example, being put in these devices, and that they, for example, were hetero and then changed into bisexual. And that was part of these experiments as well. And Mengele was obsessed, and this is why I call out his name, because he doesn't live any longer in the physical, and otherwise you won't hear me mentioning any names. But yeah, there is already so much in the world about him, and he was pure evil. And this is also why I decided to just openly say, yes, he was one of my main programmers, Joseph Mengele, Dr. Green, and that he was obsessed. And yeah, I can truly say that he didn't have no feeling. The other programmers did have certain feeling, if I can say, yeah, they all had that in kind of measurements and from where they also came. But yeah, and I will never forget all these horrific, swapping of, yeah, it was really awful, beyond awful. Delvertje, question: where did he get these children? From the good question, from the hidden cities, from the underground cities, of which my son was also living and still is alive, in my opinion, and from the invisible breeding colonies who literally were mentioned as kennels in my time, and so the invisible children who are being born. So also the trafficking, but not the trafficking from the people who were living in the world, but they were children who lived underground, because there are cities underground. And the most ideal thing is to grab these children there, because he then also could follow them and do follow-up. And often the parents were also chosen. And many times the parents knew what they did to their children, by the way, in these underground cities. So there were several advantages of taking these children from invisible, because then they would not be missed. But that was his tactics. He wanted to have, yeah, the for him best combination of genes and DNA. That was for him important, that he would know of which race they were, from which race they were originating, from which DNA, the genes, and he was in everything so specific, very detailed and specific. There is a certain word for it. How do you call that? Yeah, I forgot the word, but there's a personality which has no feeling and is very also in thinking in, yeah, in formulas and details only. There's a word for it, but I cannot get to that now. I thought I saw someone else. Pleiadians, yeah, that's the one, Yvonne. Yeah, sometimes I just don't recall the names. I thought I saw. Hey Els, welkom. Welkom lieve Els. Ik wist dat ik je langs zag komen. I knew I saw you. I thought I have to go back, scroll back in the chat to greet you. Sunbeam Sting. People can do without meat. Also, chimpanzees only eat a bit of meat in the winter and when there is no other food available. Chimpanzees have 98% the same digestive system as humans. So don't worry eating no meat or almost none. Yeah. And there is a lot going on about it now, that if you're vegetarian, that you then have a shortage of certain how you say that, additives, but the healthy ones. But I believe if you eat healthy vegetables, and also that there is energy in the vegetables. We always in the residence here, and I'm so grateful for that. This dear friend is biking each week 1 hour at least for getting organic from holistic organic food from gardens. I taste it, and we always had bio and organic from shops, but now we have a certain garden who provides that, where you can buy that, and you even can put it from the own. You can even harvest it yourself at times, like potatoes and so on. Now, it is amazing, the energy in it, and this is also why I hope that we, as soon as possible, say no to evil. We all can do that. I'm sure we can do that as people. That we can say no to evil at the same time, accidentally, and it's needed, because then we can still get food which is power in it. And since we eat that, even the highest top level quality, it is amazing. It is amazing, these vegetables, like, I don't know the English word, but witlof, that's one of my favorite vegetables. Yeah, the taste, it's incredible. And also with the utmost care of the Rudolf Steiner philosophy, which I love that fundament. But yeah, I was scrolling through the chat. Sunbeam Sting, I love Dana, his views and the way he's trying to wake up the world. Yeah, his effortless, his endless live streaming, specifically on explaining radiation, and it can be repetitive, but I learned by repeating and often watching his live streams, it starts to enter. Yeah, it's amazing, and it's where he puts all his energy in, and it's amazing. And I truly feel we should not have nuclear energy, never, ever, as humanity. So, yeah. Ariel Kieser, there are certain things within your story that I also recognize. Oh, thank you so much for responding, Ariel, and very courageous. Thank you. I am still unsure what I've experienced exactly, as I am still recalling, but I'm so grateful you were sharing these things. Oh, thank you so much. And you for sharing yours, because I feel then also more, I feel then motivated, and that I then start to feel like, yeah, I might maybe tell the truth. Because I now share it as that it's my truth. For me, it's the truth. But thanks so much for being here. Nobby, August 1952, Lynmouth flood disaster. RAF rainmaking experiment blamed for Devon's worst ever flood disaster. Delvin says, thank you for answering. Yeah, and it's okay, Nobby, that you show your opinion, but I don't want to point too much to certain people that it's too obvious. I am, because I like to explain also why. First of all, I myself was part of that world, forced, but I was part of that world. Many, the majority of them themselves come from families, from bloodlines, doesn't matter, but they were grown up in these families and they could not get out. When they wanted to get out, they were threatened. Maybe their family got threatened, and they could have started deprogramming. And this is why I don't mention names or point too much at certain. And I understand also your point of view, Nobby. So, but I don't want to point too much in the direction in the comments to certain to certain people, because that's a vulnerable subject for me, because I have met, even in monarchies as well, like there's I can only say in the Benelux is it's called. I don't know if it still exists. I don't think so. There is a country who had a princess, and it starts with an S, and she so fought hard to get out. There is also her mom who was fighting the deep state off, and it was so she was killed. That's the only thing what I can say, because I saw the documents there for eyes only documents about this. So this is part of why I don't mention, that I don't want to. Yeah, I think I explained it all. So I hope you understand, because I do respect you all, as you know. Did he have autism? Mengele? You mean Mengele? No, but I understand what you mean. No, it's called social, anti-social, and then something else. Sunbeam Sting, I have been a vegetarian. I have been a vegetarian for almost 50 years, and I'm super healthy and have no magic medication, and only 3 fillings in my teeth. So that's for me proof. Yeah. Well, good on you, Sunbeam Sting. That's that. Yeah. I believe in it too, from within. So. Chicory is with love. Thank you so much, Yvonne. Chicory, I love chicory. I hope I pronounce it well. Tineke Jessie, is Dana coming back online in my live stream again? Well, I will mail him, but I am for coming week busy with all kinds of things, and in coming weeks I hope also to have more space. And then also less toothache, and yeah, it is very yeah, I'm glad I could do the live stream this evening because I'm so exhausted lately and don't sleep a lot, but that's quite a while going on for some time. And Dana is such a sweet man. He means so well for humanity and for children and animals and the environment and the world. That is, yeah, that's just what I feel. And he's very passionate. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with passion, I believe, and everyone is unique, but yeah. Hmm. Yeah, you're welcome, Tineke Jessie. It's already 10:15. I think I will go with you into these last 15 minutes. Yeah, do you still have questions about these experiments? Um, I've talked about pretty lot, and I'm glad that I could share, or glad. I'm relieved also something has dropped from me, like that I could share that with the uh, yeah, with these horrific things I've seen, what Joseph Mengele did to others. And also to me, also I was part of the experiments and the surgeries. So I had also my own experiences in that, sadly enough. But yeah, so I think I will head for the last 10 minutes a bit in a lighter mode. And I'm checking now only on Facebook, so I apologize for. And I took some orange juice because I love orange juice. It's not the best for the teeth either because it's pretty sour, but yeah, I love it so much. Okay, on infodelen and video news, two are watching. Yeah, it's always, yeah, but it's so great that I can cross post there. Ivana says, love you all peeps. Nah, always great to receive, to send and receive love. Tineke Jessie, I have no questions anymore, I think. No, Tineke Jessie? You always have some questions. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, and I have pretty energy for tonight as well. So I'm glad that I could do my story, and thank you for joining. So I will head for closing off this live stream, and Sunbeam's thing. I have learned so much again, and every question I have, you answer it in a perfect way that fits exactly into what I encountered in my life. So that makes it for me more than the truth. It makes me understand the world better. Ah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bless you. Um, yeah, next time I want to talk more extendedly also about my experiences with the presidents. With yeah, they were overall presidents, the world leaders, and in detail also the transition and so on. Yeah, and I also in preparing this live stream, I was also aware of I'm going to talk about again gender and I was also talking about previous live stream last Saturday in Dutch about neutral and about also the gender, but I thought, well, why not? Why should I not share my opinion? And that I came from a world which was filled with yeah, confusing people. And I've seen it happen already, because that's what I wanted to add. That was what I forgot. Like in all these, what I called orgies, or then I talk about the sexual abuse part of it, where I was in my Montauk programming, being forced with meeting all kinds of people from all kinds of genders, that a lot of them were also pushed into a direction, and not only because of that theme, but also, for example, in changing their appearance, like plastical surgery, plastical surgeries. That started there. It actually it see it as that the programming and the programming world also between each other, that it is a test world, which first is happening there, and then they try to push it into the world. And this is why I decided to talk about it from the perspective from that experiments are being done on it already for so long. Delftje, I'm back. My internet was gone for a few minutes. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm on my last few minutes, Delftje. I'm going to for closure, to close off this live stream. And a lot of people also here in the neighborhood here have problems with internet. It occurs to me. My opinion is that it might happen more often. And that's what I think. Maybe also because of these incredible sun flares, but so yeah. Mm, was I now live on Kick as well? Not sure. I forgot to check. If I am live on Kick, I apologize, dear people, for not having greeted you, because I don't think I'm live there. Am I? Offline. Okay. No, not no live. Okay. So I check now all my other channels. Delftje, I think they are experimenting with 5G and such. Well, I feel last couple of weeks that I sometimes hear pressure, that I feel it in my inner ears. And at times I hear these high tunes, so high vibration of high frequencies, which feels like I've a lot of times lately, like pressure, like when you're underwater, then you also feel that pressure, or when you're in the sky in an airplane, then you can also feel that pressure. I feel that a lot more than ever. So I also count that. I also feel that that is connected to, yeah, all kinds of experiments with radiation and beams and Delftje plopping my ears. Yeah, exactly. Delftje, thank you for your story again, and have a nice night and a nice Sunday. Ah, thank you so much. You too, everyone. What the F, you also have those peeping noises in your ear recent, and also ears popping like you just came out of the water. I have the same thing. Yeah. You have the same thing, so I get acknowledged that it is. I have another friend who also has that. So it is, but it could also be connected to that huge giant sun flare of recent. It is amazing what is all happening. So, so everyone, and Yvonne says we are going from 3D to 5D. Delftje, Thursday morning it was the worst. Yeah, it was very recent. That's also what I could recall. Could be could have been Thursday morning. Ariel, wow, my ears have been doing that. Whoa. No coincidence. That yeah, it's like, but internet also has increased. I mean, you have in the Netherlands here now, which is amazing because it has a constant speed, like glasvezel. I will look it up, the translation of glasvezel. We have now internet in the Netherlands, and it's more. It's now with the speed increasing. I will now look it up in English. In English. I wonder if that's also maybe abroad. Optical fiber internet, and it's now being put in the surfaces everywhere, in also near to our environment. And yeah, I'm very mixed with that because it's even more radiation, in my opinion. I'm curious what you feel with that, and is that happening abroad as well, in the U.S. and in England? Yvonne, that's the reason the body reacts. Yeah. Well, I have all kinds of extra polarization things in the house. So we, fortunately, I live with beautiful people here who are very awake, very aware of radiation. So we do everything to protect. And I have now even a couple more polarization stuff to yeah, to at least decrease it. Ariel, I am located in the USA, so that is interesting. It is interesting, yeah, but I'm sure that also in the USA they have optical fiber now as internet, because it's of course an incredible big country, yeah. Um, in the cities it's of course better doable, but the distances are incredible there compared to the Netherlands. Because I still remember that I was in LA, in Los Angeles, and that I did everything. I was there, I think, the first time when I was there in 2010 or 2009, and I went there for a week, and I felt like, nah, I don't need a car in LA. I did not have in mind that, first of all, the public transport there is great, but not but with the subway, very great, but you really need a car in the USA. And I did not take care of that. And that was the programming. The programming took care of that. I would not get a car, so I would not drive to places I wanted to go to. Um, yeah, it is. I have a whole story about that, but the distances there are far bigger. But I did everything walking. I never hated walking, so for me that was fine. But also a disadvantage, and I came across people there who lived in Los Angeles and in California, and they were looking at me like, you don't have a car? You need to rent a car? What? You walk? But also they are amazed. I mean, they, not to make it to generalize it, but I met people then in 2010. It was 2010, and that they heard me talk about that I walked from one area to another area in Los Angeles, and that they were totally flabbergasted that I was walking, and for me it was not that far. So we in the Netherlands are used to bike and to walk distances. Yeah, so it's that's also the nice thing about being abroad as well, that you learn things from other countries, etc. Use copper. Oh yes, I have copper as well. I have my crystals and I have certain gemstones. But yeah, I do as much as possible what I can to protect. Delvertjes, shungite stones and crystals everywhere in my house. Yeah, so nice. to get to know you a bit better in that. It is here in the living room alone here in the residence, filled with not only gemstones but also stones which, for example, I also collected from Los Angeles, and from Utah. Um, yeah, so because I love to have that as a souvenir as well. But Sunbeam Sting, I still walk with my dad, who is almost 80 years old, 2 times a week, about 7 kilometers. Keeps me and him fit. Yeah, yeah. I'm very privileged that I'm physically doing okay. Besides then a bit of toothache and being tired in the head, and I have my bad eyesight. But yeah, what's that compared to many others? But I am so grateful that I can walk. That I can walk distances. I walk a lot every week. It's even more. And now, when I have uh, mail my mail job, then it will be more maybe. I'm very curious how that will all unfold. To be a postwoman, postman, postwoman. Yeah. Sunbeam Sting, and you have very, very great long hair. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the compliment, Sunbeam Sting. I take good care of it. And yeah, I try to use good products, and not, yeah, just good things, organic things, herby thing, herby things, herby shampoo, and yeah. All right, dear peeps. I like that word as well. Okay, I'm checking now what we can do. Mm-mm-mm. Good herbs for your hair. Yeah, and food, eh? Eating well is also important. Eating well, and yeah, I'm curious. Maybe I do feel that my hair is also doing better, so that could maybe even be related to that I eat now that full. There's a name for it. It is not only biological what I eat, but also biodynamic. So also the elements is then important, and that's that Rudolf Steiner fundament, which I love. So, dear people, I wish you all well and have a good weekend. And for everyone, come along with me in the raid towards Satuye, that's a channel. And I love you all, and I'm so grateful. Thank you, new followers. And bless you all, and see you next time, everyone. Bye bye.